welcome to another episode on the RiverStyx Server. That's right, I'm back! And today is my birthday. So, I've got a suit covered in confetti. I've just been to a big party, my daughter threw me a party, and what can I say? She made me this awesome suit with, I've got confetti in my hair, hang on, let me just do this. You can see, look, I even got it on top of my head as well. Oh yeah. It's even under my arms. I got it in my armpits. I got confetti in my armpits. Can you see it there? You can sort of see it there. It's been a good party. So, I'm back on the server. And today, I'm actually about to literally jump into a live stream in about 5 minutes. Hopefully you're all there. But we are going to do some massive, massive, massive progress today. So, we're going to start off by... This isn't much of a city, right? This whole place... Oh, I thought for a minute, then I forgot to put my wings back on, and I pooped myself a little bit. So this is meant to be a house with a stubborn old man who never wanted to leave in the middle of a city. Now, as you would have seen in a previous episode, we've got the farm out here now. We still do a little bit more work around here, but that will be done on a live stream at another time. But today, what we're going to do is we're going to get some buildings in. Now, I did outsource a little bit. This one, I can't remember for the life of me because it was a while ago now who built this tower. I will find out and I will let you know, and I'm so sorry for not remembering. This tower, as you can see, is only half finished. That was actually being built by my daughter. And this was meant to be a theater, but I don't think that's happening because that's been like that for about 2 months. So I'll probably just tear that down. But... we have an iron farm that we've had since, I don't know, episode 2, episode 3. Never had a building around it. It's about time it gets a building. We've got all this area in here. We have all this area in here. We have all that area there. We have all of this area. See that junky, whatever the hell that is over there? That is the limit of my base. And I've got no buildings here. I need lots of stuff. You need lots of stuff in a city. You need a stadium. You need an airport. You need all sorts of stuff. I don't know how much of that I'll get done in this season, but we will see how we go. But for now, today, or in a moment, I'm going to go jump into a live stream. Don't ask about those flames. It's not important. It's definitely not to get rid of all the cats and stuff that keep wandering in here, and now they just wander through the fire occasionally, and I've got less cats. I'm reducing lag on the server, okay? Let me just quickly sleep. We have a lot to do. In today's 6-hour live stream, I want to try and get some buildings in here. I don't know how many I'll get time to do. I might only get time to do 1. But in this episode, I plan to have at least not 1, not 2, but 3 buildings minimum. That one, this one, and this one. And a little secret, I kind of don't really have the designs, so I'm just going to wing it as I go. I just want to get some buildings in here. I want this to start looking a bit more like a city. It is looking pretty okay at the moment. We've got lots of skyscrapers, got huge towers. This is unfinished. Spider was going to be doing that. I haven't put a tower around this either. That's going to have to wait for a long time because I've still got a couple more little modules to add to this before I can do anything over here. And of course, I've still got some space back here if I need it. I've got a lot to do, but pretty much... let's get into it. I'm going to head off into a live stream. I will time-lapse it this time. And we are going to have some brand new buildings in here. I don't know how many I'm going to get done in the time-lapse, but let's give it a go. I'll see you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Golem Towers, the tallest building in the city. Golem Towers is the largest building in this city. As you can see, it's up here at 218 blocks tall. And you can see the largest building prior to this was the sugarcane farm down here. But basically, this is considerably taller than everything in the city. Now, the inside of Golem Towers is not as spectacular as the outside. So we've still got the same storage. I've just got a hole in the wall here. I'm going to put some sort of door in here later on, but for now I'm just going to leave it closed up. But this is the storage. Obviously, you guys know the storage. You've seen it before. And it's filling up. We basically already emptied 2 double chests full of blocks out of this. Billy gave me a hand with that. That was awesome of her. But if we basically fly up here, as you can see, the walls are just the black stone. It looks terrible. Oh, was that some pro flying and landing or what? I think it was. Now, as you can see, all the iron golems are working fine. The timing circuit where we've got Mr. Pillager Man, which is Iron Artie, he basically used to go straight out that wall, and he stuck out the wall. You may have seen in the time lapse that he was sticking out of that wall. So I've basically rerouted him around here, so now he parks over here. Now, because Iron Artie's head is in the glass that whole way, except for the last couple of blocks, you notice all the villagers are actually sleeping right now, and even under here, you can see there's nothing here. As soon as Iron Artie over there starts to move, because his head's in the glass, they can't see him until the last couple of blocks. So as he comes around here, you're going to see they all jump up. Ah, we're scared, we're threatened. And the iron golems spawn in. Pretty much 4 most of the time, sometimes 2, sometimes 3. And then once he's gone, they're all straight back to bed. They're like, oh, that was a false alarm. Don't worry about it, guys. And then, of course, our iron golems get to have a nice little swim in a nice warm sauna. Now, the roof in this place. Oh, I love this place. All right, so this is the spire at the very top. If I just sort of hover down here a little bit, you can see that is the view from the iron golems when they die. So at this point, this space is just going to be going to remain empty. You can see there's quite a lot of space up here, and it doesn't need to be this high. In fact, I could probably put a floor halfway around the bottom there, and we could use this for something else later on. I just don't have any use for it at the moment. So if you think of anything, if you think you've got a great idea of what I could put up here, let me know down in the comments, and I'll give it a little thought, and I'll see if we can maybe fill this with something, you know. It doesn't have to be a farm, it can be something, it could be an office. Who knows? But basically, tallest tower in the building, tallest tower in the city, it's worth it. Now, obviously, the inside's not done. We've got to come back and do that. We'll be putting a floor on, like a roof down here somewhere, so we'll have like a lobby area that we can sort of work out of. Hey, Creeper. Hey, Skelly. Ah! He looked at me. I forgot to mention as well, you may have noticed that there's a couple of extra buildings in here that weren't here before. There's one there, and there's one, this one's still half finished. You can sort of get the idea of how it's going to look when it's done. But basically, I sort of outsourced a couple of buildings. I asked anyone if they wanted to build some buildings themselves, and this is what they came up with. This tower here was built by Z1 King, and I think it's a fabulous tower. I think it looks absolutely amazing. Now, what you'll notice when you go inside is it's completely hollow. There's no floors, there's nothing else. I've actually asked him to leave it this way. We're going to fill this with a cactus farm. We might do that in the next episode, in fact. But this is going to be a cactus farm. It's going to give us all the green dye we need for the rest of the season. Really should have built one earlier, but it's time now. This one here was actually built by my daughter. I let her jump on the server and build a tower. She wanted to build something, and she's not quite finished yet, as you can see, but she's basically getting there, getting along the way. And I absolutely love what she's done up here with the quartz and the deep slate stairs. It looks really awesome. I think it's a cool little feature. So from our farmer's point of view, it's actually perfectly centered as well. So that's one thing I did say to her. It needs to be completely centered to here. So that way when the farmer comes out and he looks back, that's what he sees. And I just think that's a really nice little thing. It almost looks like a birthday cake with a candle on top. I should light it on fire up the very top there. It'll look like a candle. And now he gets to look across, and he'll also see Golem Towers as well. So it's pretty epic, and it's starting to look like a real city. So I'm going to go jump into another time lapse now. Let's go get some more resources. I've got to build a building around the sheep farm. I'm going to need a ton of colored concrete. I'll see you after the time lapse. farm is complete. How is that? I mean, the wool farm was already there. It was the building, obviously. It's now turned on as well. If you have a look inside, you'll see all the sheep have been shorn. And you might just see that just then, a little bit of blue dye. So we've got these tubes down the side, and when the sheep get shorn, let me just get rid of my stuff. See, you can see the little animated bits of wool that fly off the edges. You see it? Like there's the yellow one, and it falls down into the basement underneath. And I just think that's a really cool little effect. It really helps to bring the building to life and makes it look a little bit nicer. Around the outside of the building here, we've got all the different colored concretes. And what we've done, it was actually a suggestion on stream that what I could do was each layer I do can be the same color as the layer of sheep. So this is the layer with the white sheep, this is the layer with brown sheep, this is the layer with black sheep, and so on, all the way to pink at the very top. And I decided to stagger them so that so this one goes in, that one goes out, that one goes in, that one goes out, just to sort of give it a bit more depth. But then I also did it this way as well, so that one's in, and that one's out, and that one's in. And I just think it came out really well. I think it looks really cool. I think even from the front here, there's no windows, but I still think it really has a nice, interesting look to it. It kind of reminds me of, have you ever seen those apartment buildings made out of old sea containers? It kind of reminds me of those, but way cooler because there's sheep living inside. Now, for now, when the sheep eat, they get shorn, the wool gets spat out, which you just saw happen there live on camera. Now, what happens with it then is they come out of these green tubes down here. Now, Billy Bob Turkey was kind enough to dig this giant hole for me. It's a bit bigger than what you can see here. I'll take you down there in a moment. But basically, you'll see if we stand up here for a moment, you'll start seeing, see bits of wool just falling out of the little tubes all over the place. If I just stand here for a moment, it doesn't take long to see them. And you can see that it sort of flows its way around. If I jump over here, I missed. So if I jump over here, you can basically see they fall out of the tubes, they work their way around the waterline, and they come around through here. Now, there's 3 sorters on each one, just on the off chance that we get quite a lot of wool in the same here, or if I just dump like a whole stack of wool into the system at the same time, then we've got 3 sorters to basically pick up the items. You can see the first 2 have actually picked up a few. Third one hasn't picked up any. That one's got quite a few in the first 2. Third one hasn't picked up any. So usually 2 are enough, but you can always work out where the sorters are just by looking at them. Now, if we come down the bottom here, as I said, this hole is quite a lot bigger than it looked because you can only see up to there. There's all this back here as well. Billy Bob Turkey dug this out all by herself. I think she had a little bit of help towards the end, but she did it while I was doing the building up top. She did this all for me. She's an absolute legend. She saved me a ton of time. So this is the storage system for the wool. And basically, you can see, I've got just over a chest of all the colors, and that's just from building around this area. Like I haven't AFK'd here at all, and you can see there's a whole heap here. It'd be good if I could start learning how to use a chest, hey? I'm just running out of rockets now. But what it means is that now we're going to have an unlimited amount of wool. Now, if one of these fill up, let's say I'm just not using much dark green at the moment. I mean, the colors on this end are the ones I'm going to mostly be using. The blacks, the browns, the grays, the white, the blues, even the greens, because they're sort of like your landscaping colors. These ones down here are not really landscaping colors. They're more like your feature colors. I won't be using as much. So once I come down here and I realize that, let's say pink gets filled all the way to the top, then I can actually go upstairs and just turn off pink. They've all got levers, so I can just turn off pink. I can even just slow it down. So if I find that I'm using it, but just not very fast, I could turn 6 of the sheep off and only have 2 of them left on, and then it will just trickle down. Now, these chests over here, these are overflow chests. I may expand that later. I haven't quite decided that just yet. This is just if it gets missed by the sorting system, I can now grab it and put it in here, but it's more of an overflow. So if all the magenta gets filled, it will just flow into here instead. So, I promised you some buildings. In fact, at the start of this episode, I promised you 3. We got number 1, Golem Towers. Number 2, the Sheep Tower. I don't have a name for it, but oh, jeez, I love this place. I just love the way that all the things come off. Oh, look at that one. There you go. I love the animation in the city. So that's 1. That's 2. And I promised you number 3 over here. Nice big empty plot. All the resources already there. Let's get this started. And let's get straight into a time lapse. And the hotel is now pretty much done. I still have to do the interior of it. That'll come later on. But basically, we've got a tower. And now, this was heavily inspired by a design I found on Planet Minecraft by a user named Person345. I made a few minor changes to it, but I basically got this whole sort of facade from the front here. I love the way that the blue goes from side to side. I love the light and dark colors. I just think that it looks really awesome, and I couldn't help but sort of continue that on. And then Spider had this cool idea to basically continue that on the roof. So as you're flying over, it sort of goes around and like that, and then it sort of continues on the roof. And it's actually the perfect pattern. It's actually the perfect pattern, and it comes back down the other side as well. So you can see that there and goes through there. I think it looks really cool. Now, the other thing, minor details I just want to quickly mention. So first of all, we've got the road. I've basically carried the road off through here. Comes around here, goes back and connects back up to the road. This is what, as far as I see it, this is kind of like valet parking. So cars can sort of, cars that are on the road. And bear in mind, I live in Australia. So for us, this is the entrance. But for a few Americans, this is the entrance. So I've got everyone covered. Now later on we'll be putting a pathway in here and things like that. As you guys know, there's a lot of pathways still to come. I've actually sort of already done a bit over there, but you'll have to wait for the next episode to find out more about that. Now, as far as interior is concerned, this is what we've got here. We've just basically got the inside of all the walls. We also have a second entrance back here, which will basically, this is a hotel. So this is going to go out into the resort part. Spidered Watermelon has started turning all this into a bit of a beach for me over here. So there's a little hill here. I just ran out of rockets. Give me 2 seconds. Much better. So yeah, Spider's been turning this into a bit of a beach. We're going to do a bit of shaping out the front here. So this is going to be pretty much like a hotel resort, and it continues out here. Later on down the track, we'll put an elevator to all the floors. And as you can see, I have actually installed all the floors for every layer. You can basically see as we float down here, all the floors layers are in, and they've all got their balconies and all that sort of stuff. There's actually 4 balconies on each level, so that gives us the opportunity to do 4 rooms per level. And then up here, we can even put up like a rooftop bar or something like that, or just even just some like a little barbecue area or something along those lines. So it's coming together really well. So as promised, we have not 1, not 2, but 3 brand new skyscrapers in the city. This episode was an absolute grind. This took about 40 hours to do all these different towers. There's so many materials involved. I've gone through about 20 or maybe 30 shulker boxes worth of stuff. Not to mention the giant hole down here that Billy dug out all by herself. Or she had a little bit of help, but mostly by herself for the wool storage. But this is coming along, and now the city is starting to actually look like a city. There are towers everywhere, and we are well and truly on track to having a big city in this area. I can't wait for the next episode. I've got so much more planned, and I'm going to start recording it immediately. But that is sadly all I have time for today. So if you did make it this far, please make sure you hit that like and the subscribe button, and we will see you in the next episode. See you later.